My 7-year-old son came home from a classmate's birthday party with a raw, blistered hand, cradling it against his chest and trying not to cry. When I asked what happened, he whispered, "Caleb's mom said the kids who didn't bring expensive presents had to clean up. She made me carry the hot pizza trays and I dropped one on my hand. I felt my blood pressure spike. She made you carry hot trays? Where were the adults?" He explained that Caleb's mom had split the kids into 2 groups when they arrived, the ones whose families she considered real friends and the ones she called the extras. The extras, my son included, were told they couldn't sit at the decorated table, couldn't use the good cups, and had to help out if they wanted cake. When he picked up a tray fresh from the oven because she'd snapped at him to hurry, it burned across his palm. Instead of running it under cold water, she told him to stop being a baby and made him sit away from the other kids for the rest of the party. The other children started calling him the help. I stayed calm, but I asked for every detail. This wasn't her first power trip that day, apparently. She told the extras they could only have 1 slice of cake while the real friend kids got seconds and goodie bags. My son had been excited about that dinosaur cake for 2 weeks. When one little girl asked for water, she told her the kitchen tap was for family only. I called 2 other moms to confirm. Both were furious. Their kids had come home upset too. One mentioned that Caleb's mom had actually bragged on the class group chat about teaching kids there are tears in life. That's when I understood this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was deliberate. I decided to call her directly. I kept my voice level. "Hi, this is Theo's mom. I wanted to ask about what happened at the party." She got defensive immediately. "If this is about the burn, kids need to learn to be careful. You handed a 7-year-old a tray straight out of the oven. I don't see why the extra kids can't pitch in. I'm not running a charity." I could not believe what I was hearing. "You think my son is an extra? Look, I separate the close families from the hangers-on. The close ones get the full experience. The others should be grateful they were invited at all. So you burned and humiliated my child because you've decided he's beneath your family?" She actually laughed. "I'm teaching them about social reality. It's good for kids to know where they stand." That's when I knew there was no reasoning with this woman. I hung up and called my husband, who was ready to drive straight over, but I had a better idea. I spent the next hour on the phone with every parent from my son's class. Word traveled fast. It turned out this wasn't the first time. 3 other parents said their kids had been ranked and excluded at her house. One child told he couldn't touch the nice toys because his parents weren't important. Another made to eat alone in the garage during a sleepover because she wasn't really part of the group. By the end of the week, I had a plan. I told my son I was throwing him the biggest backyard party our street had ever seen. We invited every single kid from his class, all 24 of them, except Caleb. I rented a bounce house, hired a balloon artist, and ordered a mountain of pizza. There were no tears, no extras. Every kid got cake, seconds, goodie bags, the works. The day of the party, kids poured in at noon. The yard was chaos in the best way. Screaming laughter, balloon swords, frosting everywhere. Around 2 o'clock, my phone rang. It was Caleb's mom. "Hi, I'm calling because Caleb is really upset. He says every kid in the class got invited to Theo's party except him. He's the only one left out." I could hear Caleb crying in the background. "All his friends are there. Could you please add him to the list? I can have him there in 10 minutes. I let the silence sit for a second. "I'm sorry," I said, "but my backyard is for close families only. Caleb just isn't really part of our group." And I hung up. My son's hand healed in about 2 weeks. He still talks about that party. Caleb's mom got quietly removed from the class group chat, and the last 3 party invitations she sent out came back with nothing but polite declines.